my name is Miranda, and today I'm here to discuss the premiere episode of the latest Dimension 20 side quest, which is, of course, of Faye and Flowers, and I have been so extremely excited for this Season 2 premiere for a multitude of reasons. First of all, the whole idea behind it of Faye and Flowers. So amazing. It was described as like a Pride and Prejudice kind of Regency kind of world that we've got going on, set obviously in the Fae world, which I think is just so interesting because Fae are of course so chaotic as creatures, and D&D lends wonderfully to that chaoticness. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. And the bunch of players that Abria had selected were just eons of chaos. Right? Like, you have Emily Axford on a season and you know some chaotic shit is going down. And Abria, as I mentioned, is also going to be back in the GM seat, which is absolutely amazing. And I really was just super excited. I think also, like, and this was a thread that I kept staring at throughout the entire episode, but I really have to give it up for the set designers because the set has never looked better. Like, I feel like they one-up themselves every and each time there's a new season, and this is honestly the biggest and boldest and best they have ever done, in my opinion. There's just so much to look at. It encapsulates the players and thus you. Like, it really immerses you in that world because it takes up so much of the screen and the frame and the world that the players are in, and I think it makes it just so mesmerizing to look at. And Abria obviously plays off it so well with her makeup. All the ladies, actually, in general. Like, men, step it up a little bit, except Lou. Lou, you looked amazing. But, like, all the makeup on the girls was fantastic, and it just lended that euphoria-ness, right? Like, not to quote Euphoria, but I mean, euphoria is what we think of, but also, like, that's kind of what it is euphoria, like just this like magic and mystery of the Fae. So I was super pumped for the Season 2 premiere, and the premiere did not hold back. So first of all, the most amazing thing that I think about this whole thing is including the Pride and Prejudice kind of Regency, which I feel like I keep saying that word wrong. That's one of those words that I can never say right. You know how there are just some words that you can never say right? But incorporating that, I thought was going to be so amazing and wonderful and lead to so many romantic intrusions and stuff like that. But what I didn't think of was the fact that it was going to add in this aspect of your reputation and what your reputation will be like, how it will change and go up and down throughout the season, and how that affects how you can roll things, how you can convince people to either be on your side or be against you. And I think it's such an interesting premise, especially for a D&D game. And I know Abria said that they did add some kind of like hacks in there with other things that they're going to explain more. But when she started explaining the box, I thought that was such an intriguing premise of they all have these reputation stones, if you will. And just like Taylor Swift herself, there will be no further explanation. There will just be reputation. So as the episodes go on and they do things, we'll see how they lose or gain these reputation stones, and if they themselves know, because the thing is, they can't see the stones of themselves, they can just see other people. And Abria did say at the end of each episode we'll check in and see where your reputation lies. So it'll be interesting if they don't even realize that, like, they're tanking things until afterwards and they're not understanding why people are avoiding them or people are using them or things. I think it just lends itself wonderfully to the idea of D&D, like I said, where so much of it is dependent on your rolls and a lot of it is just absolutely shite stuff that you're thinking of, like just throw it out the wall and see if it sticks, and like, let's see if we can get away with this. And now there's going to be some real world consequences. I mean, obviously there always are real world consequences of, like, you provoke that NPC, they might stab you. But it's more of a, like, backhandedness now too, right? It's more of a, like, oh, like, your reputation has taken a dip. People aren't going to trust you or want to associate with you, or plots that you may have in your mind, you will find a harder time having them come to fruition because people don't want to lend a ready hand or things like that. So I think it'll just be so interesting. And obviously we got to talk about our two most reputation riddled, I think, characters, which are the wonderful cousins, Lords of the Wings, which I absolutely love that Emily and Lou are on, not only on a season together. I wonder if this is the season that we've had the most, like, OG members on it, because we have Lou, Brennan, and Emily all in this one campaign, which is just so awesome. But yes, Emily and Lou are cousins, which I, for one, am always a sucker for when there are, like, dynamics already established within, like, a campaign. So, like, when two characters are married, or they're cousins, or they're sisters, or, like, kind of what Laudna and Imogen had going on, whatever that is. Like, I just think it adds so much, and it's like you already have a person that you can in some ways trust implicitly, like that relationship might change as it goes on, but there's already an established dynamic there that I think adds just a hilarity to the situation, and having them be these ostentatious bird cousins I think is amazing. Having them roll up as these people who have just performed debauchery after debauchery at the previous blooms and pulling up at this bloom and being like, well, actually, we've turned a new beak and we are looking for our forever spouses at this one, and we are not going to get up to any mayhem, no, 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 and just immediately have that shot down by every single person being like, yeah, we'll believe it when we see it, I think is amazing. Lou and Emily in general, I feel like if you have started from like Fantasy High to like where Lou plays now, he has come so far, and it's just amazing to see how much he immerses himself in the game. Emily obviously is Emily, so like she's gonna do some crazy things, as evidenced by them pulling up on a ostrich chariot pulled by doves, which I love that anything Emily like pulled out, Lou immediately backed it up 1000%. So I really, really love that. And I think the interesting aspect, which we see most with the cousins, is how you can have these private conversations, but if you're not careful about explicitly saying that they're private, or if you're not paying attention to who's around, everyone's going to hear those conversations and how that's going to impact things. And I'm just really excited to see the romancy kind of aspect of this, and if they do actually end up finding spouses throughout all this, because it seems like they don't really want them. They're just trying to do what their grandfather has obviously told them to do, and they are on a very, very slippery slope. I love that we have a whole bet going on, because that's such a freaking like Pride and Prejudice Emma kind of thing to do, of like there's nothing else going on, so like let's make a bet to see if these two can fail. And now everyone's going to be trying to tempt them at every turn, and it's just going to be so amazing to see them try and resist it, and if they can resist it. So I'm super excited. That's definitely my favorite dynamic thus far, but I think all the characters are really interesting. I don't think we get to fully dive into all of them necessarily. Obviously, like Gwen, I think there's a whole lot more to uncover with her, because she seems like this innocent, Tinkerbell-esque kind of chirpy thing, right? And yet she had the cunningness, I guess you could say, right, to have her name switched onto her sister's invitation, and does not care that her sister's really upset about it. Like, it just took her place and is there and is kind of under the radar a bit, because she's not the main blue fairy, right? She's representing this court where she's not the main person, and I think that could make some really interesting tension for her. Then we obviously have Omar's character, who is, I guess it's like when you come back from summer vacation and the weird geeky pillar kid is now the hot kid, and no one really knows how to deal with that, least of all him. So I love him so much, and I love that he's just got this advisor checking in on him, being like, and just sneaking around and everything. We really didn't get to see a lot of their like classes in action yet. I believe there are 2 bards, a rogue, Brennan's like a whole mix of some shite that I don't even know what's going on, a wizard, and then I think that's it, but there might have been some other stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects it, because obviously bards are very well at convincing people and have high charisma and everything like that. And I think we did kind of see that with Lou being able to talk down that scorned woman and convince her almost to now hook up with him. So that was impressive. And then I gotta give it up for Rue, my absolute love. The love of my life, the light of my loins, except that's weird, so I'm not going to say that. But I really, really love their character, and they're also the one that came up with the bet to, you know, try and tempt the cousins, which is really, really interesting, because you think that they would want everything to go off without a hitch, since this is like their thing that they've planned, the bloom, but they're like, let's add a little chaos, and I always am here for a little chaos, so I'm excited. I also love Wovie. Oh, Wovie, like she came on and they showed her, and I was like, Kwamis, like I just love her so much. She's so cute and sweet, and I love that like she's just so, you know, she's trying her best. She's trying her best, and she's fallen down a lot because she does have goat legs, but you know, she is trying her best. She reminds me of Chevrolet from Animal Crossing, and I love her, and you can't take her away from me. Do you understand? And then Brennan's character, Brennan just, he never does what you expect, right? Like, this is supposed to be the hot, horny fae season, and dude walks up with a literal bugbear who doesn't wear pants. It's a choice, and it's a choice that's definitely going to pay off, because I feel like no matter who his characters are, they're always so entertaining, and I want to know, like, what's going on with his and Omar's character that they were like, oh, you know, like, they fought each other, and the rumor has it that Brennan's character had the chance to strike down the prince and win the battle, and he decided to let him go. We don't really know what happened, but that'll be super interested if there's some romance there, especially since like he is the most eligible bachelor, the prince. It'll be interesting to see like who actually, or if anyone actually ends up snagging him away. And it'll be interesting too because he's so awkward, which I love him, that if he really does get like all the moms, you know, talking and wanting to introduce them to their sons and daughters, and you know how that interacts with him, because he's just so awkward so far. And like literally we've seen him just be awkward and then offer drugs to the cousins right after they said they weren't going to party anymore. So that's my man. And yeah, I'm just super excited to see the rest of the season. I think the reputation thing has me so enthralled because it'll be so interesting to see how bad roles really affect the rest of the game, right? Like it's not just like, oh, like I might get hurt, or like, oh, something might happen. Now it's like, no, this might affect a move you want to make 3 episodes from now. This might affect a whole plot that you had going on in your head now and do a whole dive, and people might be paying more attention to you now if your reputation goes up. People might be not wanting to talk to you if your reputation goes down. And I also am interested to see what Brennan's character's mission is, because their Goblin King was talking about something where he's to protect Boyle and Beetle or whoever the other one was, but there's some other one where he said, and you know who you have to like take out or something like that, which could be the prince, which would also be very interesting if it's like a enemies to lovers kind of thing of like, I can't kill you because I love you. And I think it would just be so interesting. So I am so loving it so far, just the intrigue, the mystery, the propriety of it all, and how we have to be on our very best behavior even though these are fae and they get up to some wild shenanigans. So I am so super excited to see where this is gonna go. It's 10 episodes, so it's a pretty long side quest, and I am just super excited to see what's gonna happen. Yeah, so if you have seen the first episode, please feel free to leave your thoughts on the new characters, the plot, everything going on, what you think will come to fruition, the romances, the intrigue, the heartbreak, every and all of it. And also make sure this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!